Do you ever get stuck in asking yourself, why is this happening to me? Or what happened to me in the past that is causing me to be this way? If the answer is yes, then I have a video for you. Watch this.
But why? But why am I like this? Why do I struggle? Why do I have fear? Why? Why? I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay. So if I tell you the why, you have to take it as the gospel truth. And she's like, what? I'm like, no, seriously, you need to accept the answer that I give you. And she goes, okay, fine. I'm like, okay. Do you remember when you were 3 years old? You're 3 years old, laying on the carpet, playing with a piece of paper, a toy, doesn't really matter. You're laying there and all of a sudden, your nose just gets kind of itchy. And, you're 3, so you get rooting around in there. And you pull out a green booger.
Great.
And you ate it. And that is the why everything has happened to you in your life. Now the thing is that makes you laugh, but the truth is you'd be far better to accept that it's because you ate a green booger than to decide any other reason, because the why is irrelevant. The why is irrelevant. The only legitimate question is, where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? Whatever's back here doesn't matter, it's false perception. Where do you want to go? What do you want to have happen? What are your next steps?
Now that you have a little bit of insight as to why you do the things you do, realize that looking in the rearview mirror is never the place to find the solutions. However, some of us can get stuck in the past, and these past memories can keep on haunting us. So let me play for you a video of how you could eliminate these through timeline technique. Watch and learn.
Are memories real? How do you distinguish a real memory from a false memory versus a fantasy? If you close your eyes, go ahead, close your eyes. That's right. And picture a set of stairs in front of you. Perhaps a set of stairs that you're familiar with, perhaps somewhere in your home or somewhere else. Now, in your mind's eye, climb them. See your feet climbing higher. Hear your feet stomping on each tread. And feel your arm on the handrail. And feel the strain in your legs as you climb higher. Open your eyes. Think, what's my favorite color? Now close your eyes again. Imagine a majestic staircase leading to the most beautiful temple. Notice what the stairs are made of. See what the scenery is like all around you. What do you hear as you climb them? And how does your body feel as you climb higher? Open your eyes. What is the difference between those two scenes? How do you know the difference between the real memory and the fantasy? The truth? There's no difference. Your mind doesn't know the difference between real or imagined. You're taking in 1,000,000 bits of information per second. It would be impossible to mentally record everything that is happening. The lights, the sounds, the feeling under your feet, the temperature of the room. Memories are only fragments of the truth. Our mind is not a video camera. And even if it was recording accurately, it's only recording one perspective. It's not seeing the whole picture. We have to either delete, distort, or generalize the information that we're processing in the moment in order to recall that memory. One of the colleagues and trainers here, Rita, showed me this video, And I really believe that it clearly demonstrates this.
An event, seen from one point of view, gives one impression. Seen from another point of view, it gives quite a different impression. But it's only when you get the whole picture you can fully understand what's going on.
Perception, memories, and views are only fragments of the truth. Some of you may recall a story that Scott tells about witnessing a horrific accident in his teens. I believe the story goes that there was a group of them at night crossing a set of train tracks. Unfortunately, one of his friends never made it across the tracks and died that night. Later, the police came to ask Scott what his side of the story was. Eager to tell it, but he was not allowed as his father would not let him. After the police left, his father sat him down and asked Scott the details that he thought he had witnessed. Then he took him to the scene of the accident and showed him how his facts were actually false. What you see, hear, and feel is not the whole truth. Another example of this might be, have any of you ever met your childhood teacher that scared you later in life? I remember once meeting my grade 2 teacher, and I thought she was the meanest person. And she was giant. She was huge in my mind. And I met her later, and she was actually shorter than me. She was very petite. And in fact, she was very soft-spoken. She didn't speak any different, but how I perceived how she was in my mind back then was completely different. Perhaps you have stories like those that you know are false as well. Now let's have some fun with this. Who knows what a fish story is? Not sure? Have you ever heard Grandpa telling a story about a fish he caught several decades ago? The first time he heard the story, the fish was so big it took him 20 minutes to reel it in. The second time you heard it, perhaps it took 2 people 20 minutes to reel it in. And maybe just recently, when you heard Grandpa tell the story again, it capsized the boat, but they still caught it. A fish story is an exaggerated story. The person often changes the story when replaying it in their mind or telling the story out loud. The story changes based on the responses of the audience. If the audience isn't paying enough attention, the storyteller becomes more animated, adding, deleting, and distorting the story. By the time the story has been told 100 times, it's nowhere near what happened originally. This can be consciously done on purpose because they're a great storyteller, or it can happen by accident. And it's not just men who tell fishing stories and hunting stories. Have you ever seen a group of women gathered around telling their birthing story? Have you ever noticed how each woman has to upstage the previous story? Shocking. My favorite might be a parent retelling a story about something their child did. What is really funny about this is when your kid calls you out and says, "Mom, that is not how the story happened." Now, in the parent's defense, that was the perception from the parent's point of view. But the perception of the kid in the experience is completely different. Who's right? Who's to say? So what does this mean for you? You know those pesky, old, negative memories? They can be changed. Imagine those old negative memories like having a flat tire. If you don't change the tire, the journey becomes hard, challenging, and eventually the car won't even move forward anymore. If you do have to change the tire, it doesn't matter what caused the flat. You don't have to feel shame or guilt about the flat tire. You simply get rid of it. You put on a new one, and then the journey becomes more manageable. It may have a few detours, but you can still move forward, and travel is much faster and smoother. So what do you need to know about memories? Well, You need to know how we store them. So think for a minute. Think about kindergarten. Where is it in your mind's eye? Point in the air. Do you see it behind you? Or do you see it somewhere in front of you? Everyone mentally note that right now. For those of you that pointed behind you for kindergarten, you store memories in time. Your past is behind you and your future is in front of you. For you, your timeline runs through you in some way, often having the present state or the present time that you're in running through your mind or your body in some way, shape, or form. These kind of people have a tendency to run a little late or just on time. It's challenging for them to see their future as they can't see past the right now. Their pictures are stacked in front of them. They may not remember all the content of their memories, they just know something took place. You see, each memory is stacked in a line, and you can't see through the picture. This also makes it challenging to see the future very clearly. It doesn't mean that you can't see the future. It just might mean that it's a little bit vague or lacks some details. With an in-time person, it's key to help them step out of their line in order to chase future goals. They become the objective observer of their timeline, but they still store the memories behind them, and the future is in front of them. For those of you that pointed to kindergarten somewhere in front of you, you're through time. You see your entire life in front of you, past, present, and future. Many through time people see this as a timeline running left to right. The left is the past and the right is the future. Others have their future at the top or the bottom of their timeline, and it's running in a line or in a V. Their defining feature is that they see their timeline entirely in front of them. You may struggle with letting go of old memories if you're through time, but you do have the benefit of being able to see your future goals more clearly. So what can you do with this? The timeline or Dickens pattern technique allows you the ability to have the client float above their timeline with their current wisdom, knowledge, skill, and abilities. They can go back in time to a time that they wished was different and change their memory, just like changing a tire, to a more useful memory with their current wisdom and knowledge. In essence, they're like Scrooge in the movie A Christmas Carol. They have the wisdom of the past, present, and future, and the wisdom and knowledge that they can bring now to make that memory changed so that they are able to benefit their future. The key features with this is that they need to pick something today that is medium-sized in potency. We don't want to work with anything too grand right now. You can later, but right now we're only going to pick something with medium-sized content that you'd like to change. You're going to float above your timeline in whatever way it is organized for you, and you're going to pick out that memory, and you can either throw it away, like putting it in a trash can, or you can make it explode, or you can make it like fireworks or a bomb. It doesn't really matter, but you need to get rid of it. Then you're replacing that memory with a new, useful memory full of knowledge, insights, and wisdoms that you have from right now, or what you learned from that event that you wish you would have known back then. You use this new memory to rewrite your history rapidly, or some people notice that they can change the memory automatically and rewrite their whole history by changing one memory. Whatever way you do this is right for you. And when you have that new learning, that new memory, notice how it can influence your future success by putting the new skill or learning into your future goals and tasks.